Hello, welcome to Python Operators and Expressions. I'm Joseph, and I'll be your explainer guy for this video course. When you start learning any programming language, one of the first things you'll want to get a handle on is the syntax, which is kind of like the grammar of the language. The rules around how to write it, essentially. In Python, a huge part of this is understanding its various operators and using them to build expressions. They give you easy access to a bunch of useful computations, but because they have their own sets of rules, they can seem a little mystifying at first. However, once you understand their subtleties and nuances, you'll find yourself with some powerful new tools in your toolkit. So whether you're still new to these concepts or you just want to solidify your knowledge, this is the course for you. By the end of this course, you'll be able to understand and apply Python's built-in operators, distinguish between unary, binary, and ternary operators, recognize how expressions differ from statements, perform mathematical calculations with arithmetic operators, work with operators that return Boolean results, and build logical expressions with Boolean operators. While this is a course meant to be understood by Python users of all levels, it'll help if you're comfortable with Python basics like variables, assignments, and built-in data types. For a refresher on data types, I suggest Basic Data Types in Python, a quick exploration. And if you're ready to get started, meet me in the next lesson, where we'll begin with an overview of operators and expressions. So what are operators? Well, within your programs, there are many different operations you might need to perform, like addition of numeric types or assigning a value to a variable. The special identifiers you use to execute these operations are called operators. In Python, they can be symbols, combinations of symbols, or even keywords. And these various operations act on operands. We have special names for operators based on how many operands they work with. You can have unary operators, which involve one operand. For example, in minus 273.15, the minus symbol is acting as the negation operator, taking in one operand. There's also binary operators involving two operands. In 8 minus 4, the subtraction operator now involves both 8 and 4. There's also something called the ternary operator, which works on, well, 3 operands, but more on that in a later lesson. The categories of operators found in Python include the assignment operators, which assign values to variables, the arithmetic operators for performing mathematical calculations, the comparison operators that you'll use to evaluate relationships between different values, Boolean or logical operators that you can use to build logical expressions, the identity operators that determine if two operands refer to the same object, and membership operators, which check for the presence of a value in a container. So that's operators, but what about expressions? Well, to understand expressions, you need to start by looking at statements. In Python, you can find simple and compound statements. Simple statements fit on a single logical line, like the assignment statement. Compound statements, on the other hand, take up multiple logical lines. Examples of this would be the conditional if-else, for loops, or even function definitions. And now we're ready to talk about expressions. Expressions are simple statements that produce and return values. This is often done through the use of operators. For example, 7 plus 5 is an expression that returns the value 12. 42 divided by 2 is an expression that returns the value 21. But expressions don't have to use operators. For instance, function calls are also a kind of expression, like calling the built-in absolute value function and passing in -10. That will return positive 10. And while all expressions are statements, the reverse is not true. Not all statements return a value, like the aforementioned assignment statement. Now let's look closer at the difference between statements and expressions in the REPL. Open up the Python REPL. And actually, why is it called REPL? REPL stands for Read, Evaluate, Print Loop. When you input a line of code, it's read, evaluated, and its return value is printed. So when you type in an expression like 42 minus 29, it's evaluated and its return value, 13, is printed. Or use the built-in abs function, abs passing in -13, and its evaluation is the return value of the function call, in this case, 13, which again is printed. So a statement with no return value, like assignment, will print nothing. Number equals abs -13. Goes straight to the next line, nothing printed. Day equals the string Friday, Again, straight to the next line with nothing printed. But there is actually a kind of assignment that does return a value, and it's aptly named the assignment expression, and it uses what we call the walrus operator. It works like this. Open parenthesis, value, colon equals the string walrus, close parenthesis. Technically, the parentheses aren't part of the expression, but in most cases, you'll get a syntax error if you don't use them. Hit enter, and the entire expression returns the value of the right-hand side of the walrus operator. In this case, the string walrus. And the assignment worked as well. Examine value, and it holds the value walrus. This is a subtle difference, and it may not seem useful on its face, but because the assignment expression returns a value, it can be used in more complex logical flows, which we won't go into in this course. But if you're really curious, check out the walrus operator, Python's assignment expressions. Okay, back to the course at hand. The next lesson is all about arithmetic operators, where the math is always mathing. There's a lot of math in programming, so it's no surprise that Python has a number of arithmetic operators. They perform mathematical calculations, use mainly standard math symbols, work with numeric values, and operate as unary or binary. Here's the full list. The plus sign can work as either the unary positive operator or the binary addition operator. The positive operation doesn't really have a use. It's mainly a complement to unary negation. So plus A just returns A, while A plus B returns the sum of A and B. Unary negation with the minus sign flips the sign of an existing number. Subtraction works as you'd expect. A minus B returns B subtracted from A. The rest of the operators are also binary, involving two operands. Multiplication, A star B equals the product of A and B. Division, A slash B returns the quotient of A divided by B. An interesting note about division is that even when it returns a whole number, its type will be a float, never an integer. Getting a little more interesting now, the percent sign becomes the modulo operator. A percent B, or A mod B, returns the remainder of A divided by B. And its complement, floor division, is denoted by two slashes. A slash slash B returns the quotient of A over B rounded down. And lastly, the exponentiation operator, denoted by two asterisks or stars. A star star B returns A raised to the power of B. And as a general rule, when the operands are of differing types, the return type will be the one with the highest precision. For example, adding a float and an int will result in a float, but adding a float and a complex number will result in a complex number. And examples in the REPL. Start by creating a couple variables, A with the integer value 5, and B with the integer value 2. Now write some expressions. Plus A returns A, which is 5. Minus B, however, does return negative 2. A plus B returns 7, the sum of A and B. A minus B, equivalent to 5 minus 2, returns 3. And A times B returns 10. 5 times 2. A divided by B, 5 over 2, returns 2.5. A mod B returns 1. Remember, the modulo operation returns the remainder, so when dividing 5 by 2, the remainder will be 1. Floor division, A slash slash B, returns 2, because the division result is 2.5, and that is rounded down to 2. Finally, exponentiation, A star star B, returns 25, which is in fact 5 to the power of 2. A note about division. Whether you use the division operator with ints or floats, for consistency, it will always return a float. So even if you divide the integer 10 by the integer 5, despite having a whole number result, you still get the float 2.0. And it's the same if one operand is a float while the other is an integer, like 10.0 divided by 5, also returning 2.0. But on the off chance one of your operands is in fact a complex number, like 10 over 5j, now you get a complex number in result, negative 2j, which I'm just going to have to trust is the correct result. Conversely, with floor division, for example, 10 floor divide 4, the result is the integer 2. 10 over 4 rounded down is 2. And it's the same if a negative divides a negative, like minus 10 floor divide minus 4, also returning 2. But where it's a bit tricky is when the result is negative, like 10 floor divide minus 4. which returns -3. And you might have expected -2, but because it's always rounded down, it actually rounds to the next largest negative number. So be careful. And there's no complex number example for this because floor division is incompatible with complex numbers. So that was the arithmetic operators. I hope everything added up for you. Coming up next, comparison. Whoever said comparison is the thief of joy probably wasn't a programmer. Comparing objects in Python is key for logic, control flow, and all sorts of design patterns. So what do comparison operators do? They compare Python objects, operate on a variety of types, though the rules for this will differ with each operator, return Boolean values, and work as binary operators. Here are the comparison operators you'll find in Python. The double equals operator performs the equal to operation. The expression a equals b will return true if the value of a and b are equal, and false otherwise. Exclamation equal is the not equal operator, the opposite of the previous. A exclamation equals b returns true if a is not equal to b and false otherwise. These two operators are a bit special as you can use them on any two Python objects, but the next four can only be applied to objects that support comparison. Opening angle bracket, also called the less than symbol, functions as the less than operator. A less than b returns true if a's value is less than b's, false otherwise. Less than or equal to is much the same. A less than equals b returns true if a is less than or equal to b, and false otherwise. Closing angle bracket, aka the greater than symbol, is the opposite of less than. A greater than b returns true if a's value is greater than b's, false otherwise. And by now you can probably guess what greater than or equal does. A greater than equals b returns true if a is greater than or equal to b, false otherwise. Okay, it's example time. Back in the REPL, let's start with comparing numerics. Define a as 10, b as 20. Consider that 10 is smaller than 20 and see what results from using the operators we just looked at. A equals b returns false. A exclamation equals b returns true because a is not equal to b. A less than b returns true, as does a less than or equal to b. Whereas a greater than b returns false, as does a greater than or equal to b. So pretty straightforward. Now, what if you have two identical values? Create the variables x and y and set both to 30. X equals y returns true, while x exclamation equals y returns false, just as you'd expect given x is equal to y. While x less than y returns false, as does x greater than y. Because the values are the same, they are neither less than nor greater than each other. It logically flows from here that the greater than or equal to operator, x greater than or equal to y, returns true, which it does, and the same is the case for the less than or equal to operator. X less than or equal to y returns true. Again, this is probably what you'd expect, since comparing numbers is pretty natural. So how about comparing strings? Python does allow it. Characters in a string are considered by their Unicode code points, as that's the default encoding in Python. Since every character maps to a numeric code point, they can then be compared as any other integer. To view the code point of a character, you can pass it into the built-in ORD function. So the code point of capital A, ORD A, is 65. The code point of lowercase a is, ORD lowercase a, 97. With those numbers in mind, you can now use the operators. Capital A equals lowercase a returns false, and capital A greater than lowercase a also returns false, because 65 is smaller than 97. So capital A less than lowercase a should return true. And when comparing longer strings, Python will compare values one by one in sequence. So is hello greater than hola? No, false. Capital H and capital H have the same code points, but the code point for O is actually higher than the one for E. And this element-wise or lexicographical ordering also applies to comparing other container types, like lists. The list 5, 6 less than the list 7, 3 returns true because 5 is less than 7. And it also works if the two containers have different lengths. For example, the tuple 4, 3 less than the single element tuple 5 also returns true because 4 is less than 5. regardless of how many other elements are in that tuple. What won't work is if you try to compare two different container types with each other, like this. The tuple 2, 3 greater than the list 2, 3. Raises a type error, greater than not supported between instances of tuple and list. You can still use an equality check, though. The tuple 2, 3 equals the string 2, 3 does not raise an error, but typically when you compare with a type mismatch, the result will be false anyway. So if you want to compare two containers, make sure you convert them to the same type first. So I mentioned before that these comparisons always return Boolean, that is, true-false values. It turns out Python also provides operators designed specifically for handling Boolean values. If that piques your interest, meet me in the next lesson to find out more.